sweep. I don't know what you know about the word sweep. But of course, if you haven't heard, Detroit loses to Pittsburgh in 3 games. Don't play the theme song yet. I want to talk a little bit about how pathetic this team has become. The bullpen proves that we are not going to make the playoffs this year. It proves it. The only bright spot of this whole thing is Bruce Rondon. That's the only bright spot. Carlos Carrasco, on the other hand, and the Cleveland Indians do the opposite of what happened to the Tigers against Pittsburgh. They sweep the Tampa Bay Rays. And Carlos Carrasco, 8 2/3, 1 strike away from a no-hitter. The last no-hitter, 1983, Len Barker. The Mud Hens try to get back into the winning page as they take a quick 2-game series homestand against the Indianapolis Indians. And the free agency in the NHL steps up. You're watching All Andy Alfred right here on your exclusive home for me, a production of Clay Fan 2, 3. Now you can play the theme song.
I've been listening to you, watching the same games you've been watching, but I have the nerve to say what's on my mind. It's time to listen. It's time to learn. It's time for All Andy Alfred.
Hi. Starting now. What is this?
Root for our home team, a new pirate generation. Everybody shout, let's go!
Oh no. Not the pirate theme song. Oh god, no. Oh! A sweep! Oh no! The Tigers have been swept by the Pirates! No!
Crown cheers, I don't care if I ever get back. Listen to the game with my radio on. Rap along to the rhythm of a bumper song. Everybody shout. Root for our home team, a new pirate generation. Everybody shout.
Let's go, Bucks!
Pittsburgh White at the old ball game. Everybody shout.
Oh, forget Let's Go Bucks! How about this one? The Indian Fever!
Indian fever is catching fire with everyone. Indian fever, you can be part of the fun. You're the winner at every game.
A sweep!
That's where the excitement begins. So catch Indian fever. Be a believer with the Cleveland Indians.
Oh, a 4-game sweep over the Tampa Bay Rays!
Indian fever. It starts with the very first inning. Indian fever. Each game is a brand new beginning. It's the hits, the homers, the double plays. It's how you feel when we win. So catch Indian fever. Be a believer with the Cleveland
Be
Indians.
a believer! The Cleveland Indians have swept the Tampa Bay Rays in a 4-game series in St. Petersburg, Florida. And I love you guys, and welcome to this Thursday edition of All Andy Alfred, the post-game edition of the program. I'm your host, Andy Alfred, coming to you from the beautiful Man Cave Studios in East Toledo, Ohio. As you're watching All Andy Alfred, a production of Clay Fan 2, 3, presented by carrythefifthline.tumblr.com. I'm your host, Andy Alfred, welcoming you into this episode. Today we're going to break down the NHL free agency, as well as talk a little bit about the Mud Hens action tonight, as well as break down what happened today in the world of baseball. And let's get right into it. What happened last night? We'll start with Detroit first. So I'll take off slider really quick. Hair's all messed up. You can be a part of the show, by the way, by tweeting the show. It is at all Andy Alfred. It is at all Andy Alfred. Or you can, if you're watching this on a tape delay, comment underneath on below. So let's get into what happened last night in Detroit. What are you gonna do? What can you do to get this team better? What can you do? We need bullpen help. We stink. I thought the rotation was horrible. Simon, absolutely horrible. He should have been gone. Should have been gone. Pirates last night beating up on the Tigers 9-3. 9-3. Pirates had 5 runs in the third, 8 runs in the third, 1 run in the sixth, 9 runs in total. Detroit 1 run in the second, 1 run in the sixth, and 1 run in the ninth. A.J. Burnett gets the win. He goes to 7-3 with a 2.05 ERA. Alfredo Simon 7-5 with a 3.94 ERA. Neil Walker with 2 home runs, his 5th and 6th. Marte is 13th, and Pedro Alvarez is 11th. El Gaballo, see you later, home run, his 11th of the season. James McCann, his 4th for the Detroit Tigers, as I'm getting text messages letting me know that we're getting some breaking baseball news as well, too, as I'm pulling up my phone. And some breaking news as we speak, as we come on the air. Call-up I will make mention here in just a little bit. So, like I mentioned, Alfredo Simon, 5 2/3 innings, 15 hits, 6 runs, all 6 earned, 7 strikeouts, 1 home run given up. The bullpen, again, trained by the Tigers. Al Albuquerque was in the game. He pitched an inning in the third, 1 hit, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Jabba Chamberlain, 2/3 of an inning, 4 hits, 3 runs, 3 of them all home runs. You can't do that. You really can't have that. Really can't. Brandon Hardy, 1 1/3, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. For the Pirates, Burnett was absolutely outstanding. Another great performance by A.J. Burnett and the Pittsburgh Pirates rotation. Again, killing the Tigers' offense. And Burnett is a solid pitcher. I say it again. I will say it again. Burnett 7 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs, all 2 earned, 4 strikeouts in the game. Hughes, an inning pitch, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. Camino, 1 inning pitch, 3 hits, 1 run. That run was earned. That was in the ninth. Time of the game at Comerica, 3 hours, 21 minutes, 31,351 in attendance at Comerica to see the Tigers lose to the Pirates. And then we get to today. There's no chance. This team is not going to make the playoffs. Well, now the question is, will this team be a seller or a buyer? Free agency ends July 31st. And if the Tigers want to get back into it, they have to be a buyer for the bullpen and maybe a seller for the offensive front. Tigers lost today 8-4. Francisco Liriano gets the win. He goes to 5-6 with a 2.99 ERA. Kyle Ryan gets the loss. He goes to 1-2 with a 4.55 ERA. While Melicon gets his 25th save of the season. Cervelli his 4th. J.D. Martinez his 21st of the season. For Ryan in this game for Detroit, he went 4 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 runs, all 2 earned, 5 walks, 4 strikeouts, and the 1 home run given up to Cervelli. Again, Hardy, Albuquerque, and Chamberlain used. Bruce Rondon coming into the game, 4 hits, all 4 runs in the 9th inning. This rotation, this bullpen is going to be depleted. And there's a lot of talk that the Tigers are going to go after a closer in Aroldis Chapman from Cincinnati. If that happens, you've got to give up the farm. You have to, again. You need bullpen help. This team needs bullpen help more than ever. More than ever. Liriano in the game for Pittsburgh. Great outing for him. 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, no runs, none earned, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. Time of the game today, 3 hours, 32 minutes. Brad Ausmus was ejected by Sam Holbrook, his 5th ejection of the year. If you got him in your fantasy prediction, Ausmus arguing balls and strikes from the dugout was tossed. In my opinion, and this is from me, if I was in the Tiger clubhouse and I was a Detroit Tiger player, I have a player-only meeting and call every single one of them out. It's just plain and simple. They have to step up. This could have been a good series. But of course, the Tigers blew it. And it proves today that the Tigers, I don't think, are going to make the playoffs. Even though the record is now at 500, I think the Tigers are done for. If we get to July 4th, which will be in 2 days, and we are under 500, that is it for me. I told myself that if the Tigers are under 500 by the start of either the All-Star break or the 4th of July, and they are under 500, the Tigers could be in trouble and are going to be in trouble, and I think will be eliminated early on in the season for the playoffs. It's sad to say. Injuries killed us again. It's just like the Jackets. It killed the Jackets last year in the beginning of the season, and it's killing the Tigers today. One thing that's not killing right now, well, the one thing that's killing the Tampa Bay Rays were the Cleveland Indians. Carlos Carrasco. Oh my God! Got a chance to watch the game last night. Great performance by him. I got to give Jason Kipnis credit. He wanted to give Carlos the no-hitter. The last no-hitter by the Cleveland Indians, 1983, with Lenny Barker, when he pitched a perfect game at Cleveland Stadium. That was the last no-hitter / perfect game in Cleveland Indian history. We were this close to another one. Carrasco, 8 2/3 and 1 strike away from a no-hitter, and the Butler did it. Base hit over Kipnis, scoring the 1 run that Tampa scored. Tampa 1 run on 1 hit, 1 error. Cleveland 8 runs, 10 hits, no errors. Carrasco 10-6 with a 3.88 ERA. Cologne gets the loss. He goes to 3-4 with a 4.70 ERA. Hey, what's your favorite kind of moss? Brandon Moss is 13th of the year. Tampa for Cologne, he went 7 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs, all 5 earned, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. And I'll make mention of this again. Carrasco, perfect through 8. Had the walk, of course. Had 2 walks in the game, 8 2/3, 1 hit, 1 run. That run was earned, 2 walks, a total of 13 strikeouts in the game. Time of the game last night, 2 hours 44 minutes, 11,394, and most of those fans were Indian fans, and those Tampa fans were into it because they really wanted to see this. And I don't blame them. One strike away. One strike away. How good this rotation is now becoming. It is finally in Cleveland gelling. They're going to be a powerhouse. I could see them surging past Detroit really easily. I can really see it. I can really see it. And then today, a great performance by Corey Kluber. The Indians come back in the 10th to win, and they win 5-4, beating the Tampa Bay Rays in this game. Shaw gets the win. He gets a much deserved win. He goes 1-1 with a 1.95 ERA. So Rodino gets a loss. He goes to 1-1 with a 3.18 ERA. Cody Allen, his 15th save of the year. Valley's his 4th home run for Cleveland this season. For Tampa, coming off of his major league start. First major league start this year. He went 4 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs. Those 4 runs earned 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. For Corey Kluber in this game today, a great performance by the Indian rotation. 8 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned, 4 runs, 3 of them earned, 1 walk, a total of 14 strikeouts. All 4 pitchers had double-digit strikeouts. I'm telling you right now, if you're in a fantasy league and you see Indian pitching rotation, you see guys open in the spots, pick them up now. Kluber, Carrasco, and a Tampa Bay team that's really good, really, really good. They're in the hunt. Kluber, a great performance. 3 hours and a minute took to play at 16,353 in attendance at Tropicana Field in beautiful St. Petersburg, Florida. Other notable games happening today. We have one game going on right now. Milwaukee's up 4-0 on the Philadelphia Phillies. Day games today. Other day games beside Detroit and Cleveland. San Francisco loses to Miami 5-4. Jose Fernandez, his return, he gets the win. He goes to 1-0 with a 4.50 ERA. Matt Cain coming off of DL starts for San Francisco. He gets the loss. He goes to 0-1 with a 9 ERA. The Cubbies were a winner 6-1 over the New York Metropolitans. Arrieta gets the win. Jake DeGrom gets the loss. Today, the rest of the games around the major leagues. Texas is in Baltimore. Boston is taking on Toronto. Washington at Atlanta. San Diego is at St. Louis. 8:10 tonight. It will be Minnesota versus Kansas City. 9:40 Colorado at Arizona. And at 10:05 Seattle is in Oakland. The Tigers will continue their homestand. They will take on the Toronto Blue Jays starting tomorrow at 7:08. It will be Josh Hutcherson for the Toronto Blue Jays. He's 8-1 with a 4.99 ERA. Anibal Sanchez on the hill. He's 6-7 with a 4.63 ERA. On Saturday, a lot of day games going on and around the major leagues, with it being the 4th of July. Of course, tomorrow's edition of Andy Alfred, a live edition, the 4th of July Spectacular. I can't wait for you guys to enjoy it. R.A. Dickey on the hill for Toronto. He's 3-8 with a 4.85 ERA on the 4th of July for Toronto. He'll face David Price from Detroit, 7-2 with a 2.62 ERA. 1:08 start time for that one. In the concluding game on Sunday, it will be Estrada for Toronto, 5-4 with a 3.58 ERA. He'll take on Justin Verlander, who is 0-1 with a 5.09 ERA. For Cleveland will continue their road trip. They head now to Pittsburgh. They'll play out the Pirates now in Pittsburgh at PNC Park. Tomorrow will be Trevor Bauer on the hill, 6-5 with a 3.96 ERA. Morton will start for Pittsburgh. He's 6-1 with a 4.28 ERA, 7:05 start time for that one. At 4:05, it will be Anderson for Cleveland. He's 1-0 with a 0.57 ERA. He'll take on Locke for Pittsburgh, who's 4-4 with a 4.55 ERA. And the concluding game on Sunday in Pittsburgh at PNC Park, it will be Danny Salazar, 7-3 with a 3.80 ERA, versus Garrett Cole, who is 11-3 with a 2.20 ERA, 1:35 start time for that one. All games on Fox Sports Time. We'll preview those games in a little bit more in-depth starting tomorrow on tomorrow's edition of All Andy Alfred, a live edition of the program. Looking at other notable games happening this weekend that are going to be interesting to watch. Tampa Bay is in New York. Cincinnati is hosting Milwaukee. Looking at divisional opponents in the American League Central, Kansas City hosting Minnesota. Baltimore on the road, they'll take on the Chicago White Sox. The Cubs are hosting Miami. San Diego is in St. Louis for a 4-game series. The Dodgers are hosting the Metropolitans. And at 8:08, it will be the Washington Nationals taking on the San Francisco Giants. A preview, in my opinion, for the National League Championship game. That's a possibility going forward into this upcoming postseason. Looking at the standings going forward into today's play after the Detroit Tiger loss and the Cleveland Indian victory today, here is the updated standings going forward. Kansas City is still in first place. They're 44-31. Minnesota is 41-37, 4.5 games out of first place. Detroit now an even 39-39, 6.5 games out of first place. Cleveland with the win today they're now 37-41, 8.5 games out of first place. Chicago 34-42, 10.5 games out of first place. So the Tigers need to get going, and Toronto, a good team so far. They won today. They won yesterday against Boston. They'll try to get the win tonight against Boston as well too. Their record 42-38 going into tonight's play. They're only a game out of first place in the American League East. Baltimore 42-36. Tampa, with their 4 losses, have slid back down to 4th place. They're 42-39, a game and a half out of first place. Boston gotta fire John Farrell. They're 7 games out of first place, 36-44. Unbelievable. See how bad Boston is this year. As you're watching All Andy Alfred, right here on your exclusive home for me, a production of PlayFan23. I'm your host, Andy Alfred. I forgot to put this back up. I talked about the Indians and I forgot to put this back on. Put this on for the rest of the show because the Indians are on the winning streak, and every time they are on the winning streak, the hat does it for me. Let's talk a little bit about the Mud Hens. Tonight it will be Phil Melville on the hill for the Mud Hens as they take on the Indianapolis Indians. And it will be interesting to see how the Hens will do tonight against the Indians after how they lost the concluded game of the series against Durham. 7:05 start time for that one. Tomorrow it will be Richard for Indianapolis, who is 4-2 with a 2.09 ERA. He'll take on Sean Green, who is 0-1 with a 4.35 ERA. 7 o'clock start time. That game you can watch on BCSN. There is still limited amount of tickets left for this game because it's the last home game before the 4th of July season, and then the Mud Hens will hit the road. They'll take on the Columbus Clippers in a 3-game series in Huntington Park. Buck Farmer on the hill, 7-2 with a 3.35 ERA. He'll take on Roth from Columbus, who is 6-4 with a 3.74 ERA. 7:15 start time for that one in Columbus. Sunday, Larry Parrish is not yet named a starter. It'll be Markham for Columbus, who is 4-1 with a 1.95 ERA. 6:05 start time for that one. Concluding game on Monday is a day game. Have not yet named starters for both teams before the Mud Hens return home Tuesday to take on the Clippers on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday at Fifth Third Field before they take on the Louisville Bats. And remember, the Bats will be in town, and there'll be a double header that following Saturday. Back to the Future Day at the ballpark. Gotta make mention of this too before we continue on. on Sunday at Fifth Third Field, they will be having a free viewing party for the Women's World Cup final between the United States and Japan. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well too. But the doors open at 6 o'clock. The first kick, the kickoff is at 7. Watch the games on the big boards out at Fifth Third Field on Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. Planning maybe to be in attendance for that one, but also thinking about staying at home and watching it just in case if the United States loses. When I have some friends that are headed up to Vancouver as well too, and safe travels up to Vancouver for the FIFA Women's Final on Sunday. Looking at some scores from yesterday around the International League, and interesting to see that, Columbus losing to Indianapolis 2-1. Pawtucket loses to Rochester 8-4. Charlotte gets a loss as they lose 2-0 to Norfolk. Gwinnett 6, Buffalo 2. Scranton Wilkes-Barre was a loser to Lehigh Valley in 10 innings, 3-2. And Syracuse puts 10 runs on the board to beat the Louisville Bats 10-1. Today in games today. Right now, halfway through the fourth inning, it is Scranton Wilkes-Barre 1, Pawtucket 2. That game started around 6 o'clock. We're taping the show around 6 right now. Louisville is hosting the Columbus Clippers. It's a delayed start right now. Planned start in Durham again as Durham takes on Norfolk. Gwinnett is in Charlotte. Rochester in Lehigh Valley, and Syracuse is in Buffalo. And looking at the standings going forward into tonight's play, here's the updated standings. Toledo 12.5 games out of first place with a record of 35-44 in last place in the IL West. Louisville is 39-41, 9 games out of first place. Columbus 42-38, 6 games out of first place. Indianapolis leading the division there, 48-32 so far this season. So the Mudhens trying to get back in the winning page tonight. They'll take on Indianapolis, and we'll see what happens if they can continue the momentum. You're watching All Andy Alfred right here on your exclusive home for me, production of PlayFan23. I am your host, Andy Alfred. Of course, if you haven't heard, big news coming out yesterday, late after the show was done. It was announced after our live show that Brad Richards from the world champion Chicago Blackhawks is now a Detroit Red Wing. It was announced he was picked up by the Red Wings yesterday. Big move for them. Looking at some of the new moves that were made today, of course, Matt Frazier going to Winnipeg. Patrice Carriere re-signs with the Winnipeg Jets. Goaltender Jason Labria from Anaheim is now going to Philadelphia. Defenseman Robert Briscoe will be staying in St. Louis. Corbin Holtzen from Anaheim is going to be staying with Anaheim. The big move is Cameron Schilling from Washington is now going to be playing with the Chicago Blackhawks. Here's an interesting note. A lot of the teams are re-signing with everybody, but a big one is Justin Williams, formerly of the LA Kings, is now a Washington Capital. He has been signed by the Washington Capitals. Matt Belsley, formerly of the Anaheim Ducks, is now a Boston Bruin. Antoine Vermette, formerly of Chicago, is back with the Arizona Coyotes. And late news today out of this front is that the Capitals have acquired TJ Oshie from the St. Louis Blues in exchange in the trade today for right winger Troy Brouwer and goaltender Felix Coble at a 2016 third round pick going forward into this upcoming season. And I want to make mention of this too for the Jacket fans. I mentioned that we are getting I talked to Aaron Portzline today for late last night, on Twitter, and I will read the quote verbatim. I tweeted Porty last night, asking about the Matt Calvert situation that's going on. I said at Portzline, what is the chance the Jackets are closing to signing Matt Calvert back to the team? Portzline wrote, They're getting a deal done. He has arbitration rights, so one way or the other, it's getting done. So Portsline is reporting that Matt Calvert will be a Jacket again this year. Brandon Saad, he also is reporting that Jarmo Kekalainen says the club and Brandon Saad's agent, Leonos Gross, still working towards this deal. If we don't get Saad out of this, I'm worried of the whole situation. So we'll see what happens. Today was the final day of the developmental camp. Team Jenner, Boone Jenner's team, wins the trophy, and they win the Singer Trophy, and I can't wait for them to lift the Stanley Cup come towards October. Is it October yet? Because we are the fifth line. We are closer and closer and closer to the start of the NHL season. I cannot wait. Cannot wait. But following all the free agencies as well too, going forward, Matt Frazier, everything like that. The Jackets making a move yesterday as well too. I wanted to make mention of that before I continue on. I find it in here. Yes, here it is. Gregory Campbell, formerly of the Boston Bruins, is now a Columbus Blue Jacket. He is a, if I can find it here, it's a forward. The Jackets did lose to the restricted free agent Sean Collins. He's a forward, so it's an exchange for an exchange. That's fine with that. So it'll be interesting to see if they can get this Matt Calvert thing officially done. If they can get it done, they can get it done. Also got to make mention of this as well too. The Cleveland Cavaliers making a big move yesterday, signing Kevin Love a 5-year deal worth $110 million. They signed Tristan Thompson as well too for $40 million. They have also signed to Shumpert for another. They signed Thompson for $80 million, Shumpert for $40 million. They spent about $200 million in one day contracts. Still waiting on LeBron. On tomorrow's edition of All Andy Alfred, it will be a live show. We'll talk about this weekend's baseball series. We'll dive into the weekend in sports as well too, and it is the 4th of July Spectacular. A lot of you tune into this to see what I have planned. Cannot wait to share with you. So the Tigers losing and getting swept by the Pittsburgh Pirates. Indians sweeping the Tampa Bay Rays. The Hens going for a win tonight against the Indianapolis Indians at Fifth Third Field at 425 Washington Boulevard. I hope you enjoyed this program as much as I did today. And however you're watching us and whenever you're watching us, thank you for tuning in to watching All Andy Alfred today. And as always, go Tigers, you gotta get going. Go Tribe! Indian Fever. Slider believes. Let's go, Hens! Get back on the winning page. We are the fifth line. Let's go Cavs. And go USA. They take on Japan. Let's go wrap it up for All Andy Alfred today. I hope you enjoyed this program. And as always, I'm pulling for you. We're all in this together. The game of life. And to the teams behind me, your team that you root for at home as well. Victory is sweetest when you have tasted defeat. Have a good evening, everybody. I will see you tomorrow for another edition, a live edition of All Andy Alfred. Take me away with some more Indian Fever. Love you. Bye.
Indian fever, it's catching fire with everyone. Indian fever, you can be part of the fun. You're the winner at every game. That's where the excitement begins. So catch Indian fever, be a believer with the Cleveland Indians.
tomorrow for another edition of All Andy Alfred. Love you, babe. Talk to you guys tomorrow.